The Supreme Court has recently decided that it is up to a district court to decide whether in 2021 the Biden administration properly ended a controversial border enforcement program called the Migrant Protection Protocols, or MPP, sometimes referred to as Remain in Mexico. Under this program, thousands of asylum seekers are forced to wait in Mexico for their immigration hearings, instead of in the U.S.
The MPP program has really impacted asylum seekers and has completely altered their experience of applying for asylum in the United States. Throughout the two different versions of the program that we've seen over the last 3 years, migrants have been forced to wait in Mexico for their immigration court hearings instead of in the United States. And so there they've been subject to very dangerous conditions, including physical violence, kidnapping, torture, and even death. Of course, the Supreme Court decided last month that it is up to a district court whether the Biden administration correctly terminated the program. That does not mean that the program has ended as it is right now. The program is continuing. We haven't really seen on the ground any significant changes to the program.
MPP was first put in place by the Trump administration in 2019. The Biden administration announced its termination in 2021, but a district court enjoined that termination, ordering the administration to resume the program. Now, the Supreme Court has ruled that the Immigration and Nationality Act does not bar the government from ending MPP. However, MPP currently remains in place while the issue is remanded back to the district court, which will decide whether an October 2021 memo ending the program violated another federal law, the Administrative Procedures Act. Until then, many migrants are still forced to remain in Mexico while their case for immigration relief is pending. Since December of 2021, over 5,000 migrants from countries in the Western Hemisphere have been enrolled into MPP. Migrants in the program often wait in shelters in Mexico and make trips back and forth to the U.S. border where they attend court. Here in the Rio Grande Valley, where ProBAR is based, asylum seekers often wait hours away in the city of Monterrey and are bused back and forth to attend court in large tents erected on the banks of the Rio Grande River. In Mexico, many migrants live in shelters, which have struggled with issues of capacity and dangerous conditions.
In the first version of the program, they were in the tent encampments on the border on the Mexican side, and now they've been staying in shelters farther inland in Mexico, but they've still been facing a lot of the same challenges.
The experiences at the shelters continue to be an issue, of course. We're trying to ask these shelters to try to manage a huge amount of asylum seekers. They are at capacity and they are doing what they can to shelter these asylum seekers, and in practice, it has been concerning.
They've had to gather and translate their evidence into English for their court cases under the constant threats to their lives and truly awful conditions. They oftentimes have had to leave the shelters that they're staying in early in the morning because of capacity issues and have been forced to wait, with no other place to go, kind of huddling for safety with other asylum seekers who oftentimes are recognized as asylum seekers by potential dangerous actors in the area, including cartels and others, and other criminal elements.
In addition to dangerous conditions, migrants subject to MPP have faced significant barriers to seeking legal assistance and representation while waiting in Mexico. Since the program resumed in December, only 5% of the people enrolled in MPP have been able to find legal representation. Accelerated case processing times and physical distance from U.S. attorneys have impacted access to legal resources, making it especially difficult for asylum seekers to present their cases successfully. It is also important to point out that MPP is not the primary mechanism for border enforcement. A policy called Title 42 is currently in effect at the border, which allows the government to expel migrants back to Mexico or their home country without the chance to seek asylum or legal relief. It has been employed over 2 million times since March of 2020. Although Title 42 was set to be terminated in May 2022, a federal court blocked the government from doing so. Title 42 remains in effect following that order. For more than 30 years, ProBAR has provided access to critical legal services to migrants and asylum seekers in the Rio Grande Valley border region. Our work is carried out in close proximity to the border, and we have continually adapted and changed our services to support migrants in need of assistance, including the asylum seekers subject to this program. Earlier this year, We implemented an Immigration Court Helpdesk program that offers legal education and case assistance to unrepresented asylum seekers, services that continue while MPP remains in operation. Now, as always, ProBAR stands firm in our commitment to advocate for asylum seekers to receive access to counsel, due process, and respect for their human rights.